Welcome back to Coast Vue. I really enjoyed that conversation with Jeff Duncan. We're so lucky to have access to Jeff. Really just year round. He wrote the book on the Saints. We did that show today, as you heard, because he has to go to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony in Canton. He's on the Hall of Fame selection committee representing New Orleans, and as you heard, Sam Mills is going to be inducted, which is a really, really awesome move, especially for those of us who are longtime New Orleans Saints fans. We remember well the Dome Patrol and the role that Sam Mills played on the Saints, and then when he left here and went on to be a coach and really established himself there, and then, of course, his illness. And as I mentioned, he was quite an inspiration during those times as well. But anyway, we're lucky to have access to Jeff Duncan. That is for sure. Now let's shift gears and move over to my friend Kenny Holloway, the mayor of the city of Ocean Springs. Got some good updates to give about the city. He's actually fresh back from the Neshoba County Fair, so look forward to getting an update about that as well. But how you doing, Kenny?
I'm doing well, Ricky, and you?
I'm doing really good. So Neshoba County, I mentioned to you during the break, the last time I went there, it was so hot. I literally felt like I was in an oven. It was so much. But if you want to see people of all stripes and certainly to see the political leadership in this state, you got to go to the Neshoba County Fair. Tell me about your time there.
Well, we went up to participate in Coast Day, and we left on Wednesday afternoon. Got there, went straight to the fair. The DMR was cooking in the cabin, so we got to enjoy some fresh coast seafood. And next morning we were there at 8 o'clock and stayed till noon. The political speeches were going on, the governor, the speaker, treasurer, auditor, everybody. And I like listening to those. Like we were talking at the break, next year will be really interesting because it'll be election year and it'll be probably pretty spicy, or spicier, I'll say.
Well, did you hear any scuttlebutt, like as it relates to the speaker? Any scuttlebutt about he might run for governor? What'd you hear?
He didn't indicate that. Being a small town mayor and having to work with the governor and the speaker and the lieutenant governor, I just stick to potholes and fix ditches. This well, but as a publisher, I kept as close a relationships with elected officials as I could, and I always heard from mayors that they may have an opinion about what happens in state leadership, or they may have an opinion about what's going on in the political scene as it relates to the county they do business in, but they're really quick to point out that the smart money is on. I'm gonna worry about my city first. That's where their heads are, and there's really no other way you can look at it as a mayor. You got to get along with everybody. We do have to get along with everybody because we rely so much on the state, and like every other city does. But fortunately, we have a really good relationship with the leadership and state level. We have some excellent leadership from Jackson County, at the state level, and we just want to let them deal with what they have to deal with politically, and we want to just participate as good stewards of the money they give us to use.
I know you are, Kenny. I bet I could probably say this about every mayor, but very specifically, Ocean Springs has a unique place in coastal Mississippi's history because it was one of the only cities after Katrina that city center did not get mega impacted. Okay, so its ability to come back at the storm was very significant, and so there's that historic piece is there. Just the fact that Ocean Springs has always been this unique community, and you look at it today as a walkable community and the progressive nature of it, et cetera. When you go up and you're having a conversation with the speaker, the lieutenant governor, or the governor, and you say you're the mayor of Ocean Springs, there's got to be a sense of pride that comes from that.
It is, growing up here and now being the mayor, it's an awesome responsibility, and I'm honored to be able to do it for my hometown. Everybody you talk to at the state level, or even traveling around, everybody who has been to Ocean Springs, they love it. You'd be surprised
with those, we have a lot of those folks that just come into town and stay, which we're not even aware of it. The governor, Senator Wicker and his wife took their Christmas picture on the front beach in Ocean Springs. They're in Ocean Springs quite a bit. So we're fortunate. We really are. And I think what we have going on is very positive. We want to grow and progress the city, but you got to keep what makes a city unique and what makes it charming. You got to keep that intact.
I've spent a lot of time on the show talking about Robert St. John's book on Walter Anderson, and then his collaboration and production of the documentary on Walter Anderson's life. And I read just in the past few days where almost 80% of the public broadcasting stations in every community of the United States, like over nearly 80% of all public broadcasting channels in the United States are going to play the documentary. And I tell you, man, that's just going to continue to raise interest in Ocean Springs, and particularly the Walter Anderson Museum. He's going to have an impact. I often talk about Walter Anderson the way that I talk about George Orr, that George Orr, as a result of a book being written about him and getting sort of into the artistic scene long after he died, of the New York, artistic scene,
right.
it just took off. Same thing's going to happen as it relates to Walter Anderson. You got it, man. That's putting Ocean Springs on the national stage. That's got to excite you.
It does. We have a great relationship with the museum. Their staff is very, knowledgeable and progressive. They're a good partner, and we're proud of them.
Okay. Headlines recently about the city's purchasing the land on the front beach that you and I talked about before. But why don't you kind of get, first of all, for people who have not heard us talk about this before, explain to them what the vision for that piece of land is, where is it located, and then we'll talk more about your efforts to get funding to make this a reality.
Yeah, the property is on Front Beach. It's just to the west of the Fort Maurepas Park, kind of right in the center of the beach, between the yacht club and the harbor. It's very active during the weekends with people playing volleyball and using the park splash pad and so forth. So this is just going to be another amenity that the citizens and the visitors can enjoy. It's at the foot of Jackson, which is one of the most beautiful streets in Ocean Springs, and very easily accessible to downtown and the harbor and so forth. So we've got a vision to create a complex there, activity center, much like the pavilion on Point Cadet, and then a marina. The DMR is working with us on a piece of property across the street from this project that we'll be able to use for parking. So it's going to be something I think is going to showcase Ocean Springs. Really, I really do. I'm excited about it.
It's a good development. They have the Barksdale Pavilion in Jones Park in Gulfport that has been real popular. Just a lot of events and other things that are happening there. It's exciting. So what's the latest on the funding, and are you having success in acquiring some commitments?
Well, like the purchase, the county split the purchase with us, and the county will operate the marina. We'll operate the uplands part of it. We were able to secure $2.8 million Go Mesa this past year, and that'll get us through some permitting. We've started to clear the site already, and then the next phase will be getting the bulkhead placed and then preparing the site. And we've got another $3 million request in the Restore Act. So we should hear something about that November. We're currently scheduled to do a conference call with Senator Wicker's office this week to see how far we can go with this federal infrastructure money. So hopefully there's something that we fit into there. But we're excited about the amount of money we've got committed to the project. General Spraggins and the DMR love it. Everybody who looks at it and likes what we're doing with it. So when everybody's on board, the county, the state, and hopefully the federal government, I feel confident we'll be able to put this thing together and keep it moving forward. The last thing I want to see it do is drag on and have a lapse of a funding issue.
Kenny, you and I have talked about this before, but your relationship with the county is critical, and it's also really good. Talk a little bit more. I tell you what, let's do this. We're coming to the end of the segment. We'll pick it up right there on the other side. I'd like to hear more about that incredible relationship between you and the county. Ocean Springs and Jackson County Board of Supervisors have to work closely together if you're going to kind of move what is part of the certain tourism economic engine for the county forward. It's awesome to hear how that's working for you guys. When we come back, We'll continue our conversation with Mayor Kenny Holloway, the Mayor of Ocean Springs. See you after this. Welcome back to Coast Vue. I have my friend, the Mayor of Ocean Springs, Kenny Holloway. And Kenny, you know what's interesting? I often say I wish we could record the conversations that we're having during the break, because I get that, I really do, whether it's with you or other mayors or supervisors or, state leaders, the opportunity I get through this show to visit and get caught up to speed on what people's thinking are. Some things that we would be willing to share on the air. Some things are kind of behind the scenes conversations that we're not, willing to put our stake in the ground around it currently. But it's, the accumulation of these conversations really puts me in a unique position where I kind of have a good sense of what's happening across the state, particularly across this region. And I'm honored to be in that position. I really do enjoy spending time with you as well. Hey, listen, when we went to break, we're talking about the incredible relationship that you and the city of Ocean Springs has with Jackson County and the Board of Supervisors. I mean, I can't overstate that. That's really important, but it's true that it's very positive, isn't it?
It is. It's real positive. We have Troy Ross and Randy Bosards. They both represent part of Ocean Springs, and they're awesome to work with, as well as the rest of the supervisors. Everybody has their place, as far as what we do in Jackson County, the cities, and so forth. And we're the tourism, and we have a great medical community, which that's a whole nother conversation with Singer River Hospital. But I think they're going to do the right thing, and that's going to continue to be a great hospital in Ocean Springs. So, but we do have a good relationship with them, and we don't just go to the county with our hand out. We put skin in the game every time we go to the county for a project, like this past one, or if they do a road for us, we provide the engineering and stuff like that. So and I think they appreciate that. Just not us just coming to them without anything.
Being mayor, you're certainly the face of the community, and you want to always put the best foot forward. But being mayor of a community like Ocean Springs means you have to pay attention to a lot of the details. There's just a lot of details to tend to. Like, for example, you and I have had numerous conversations about infrastructure and why infrastructure is critical to the future of the city. That planning is moving along quite well, isn't it?
It is. We provided the county with our list of projects that we want to spend our ARPA money on. And it's strictly, water, sewer, and drainage. They've got that list, and as soon as they, bless it, then we'll make the application to the state, and hopefully we've accumulated the, just shy of $18 million. And we've got a lot more work that needs to be done, but that's going to be a good start.
It is, it's not sexy, but it is. How critical is it? Man, I mean, infrastructure comes up in just about every developmental conversation you have, doesn't it?
It does. And parts of Ocean Springs has a lot of good natural drainage. It's high, it's hilly, but then when you move out to the east, we've got limited utilities. We've got flatter land, so the drainage becomes an issue. We've got water that loops around up Ocean Springs Road and down 57 to 90, but the sewage, so you got to have sewer up in there too. So there's quite a few projects, and we're looking at Jackson County Utility Authority, talking with them and the county to try to address these projects in a partnership way.
It's so important. Like you and I always tend to lean in this direction when we talk, but you're enjoying being the mayor, aren't you?
Yeah. I told somebody the other day, it's not a day I wake up in the morning I dread. I got to go to work. I just don't have that feeling. I like the business part of government. The politics part of it so much, not so much, but the business part of it I really like, and I learned that from AJ.
Yeah, you don't. Saying shrug off the politics is not smart. Obviously, you got to be smart about the politics, but maybe it's just having thick skin. I think if you vote your conviction and you're doing everything in your power to help the city move forward, and that you're presenting the city in as positive way as you can, and you're trying to be a good representative of the city, and in your heart that that's where you're coming from, it's a lot easier than to take those daggers that come in your direction, because in politics today, it's impossible to stay away from social media and all the other things that make the job more difficult. And at the end of the day, as long as you're keeping your nose to the grindstone and doing the right thing, that probably keeps you propped up pretty well, doesn't it?
It does. We have a vision. We have a plan. During the break, we talked about some different things, and I've always been a person that, and I've said this from day one, I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. I want to have people surrounding me that are smarter than me. And even on committees that we put together, good old boy politics, I just do not like it a bit. I just don't, I don't want to do anything for a friend just because they're a friend. I mean, if they're a friend and they've got something to offer the city, then in a unique way, that's great, but we're out looking for, smart people to help us plan and grow the city. And no matter whether that's a board or whatever it is, we want intellectual people. And we've got a lot of smart people in our community.
You do, and we've talked about this before, coming to our end of our time together. The more voices you have involved, the better the plan's going to be. Sometimes it takes democracy a little longer to work, but you get a better outcome. And I love the idea of surrounding yourself with smart people. That's what makes a community like Ocean Springs tick. Kenny, thanks for joining us. Good luck to you, and continue the good job you're doing, buddy.
Thank you, Ricky. Y'all have a good week.
You bet. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.